all know that DNA is the store of information. If we consider DNA as a book, then the information stored in it is a blueprint of instructions that a cell requires to live, grow, function, and reproduce. The information in DNA is stored in the form of nucleotide sequence, which is transferred to mRNA through transcription. This language of nucleotides is then converted in the language of amino acids to produce proteins through the process of translation, which means that the nucleotide sequence on DNA act as a code for producing various molecules including RNA and proteins. Transcription is the first step of gene expression, in which a particular segment of DNA is copied into RNA with the help of enzyme RNA polymerase. It is different than replication in many aspects, like in replication, the whole genome of DNA needs to be replicated. But during transcription, only a small portion of genome is transcribed in response to developmental requirement, physiological need, or any environmental changes. The regions that are transcribed into RNA are called as structural genes. Now, let us see some of the basic features of transcription. Transcription synthesizes RNA by the usual process of complementary base pairing with template DNA strand using specific RNA polymerase enzyme. It requires double-stranded DNA template and the precursor ribonucleotides including ATP, GTP, CTP and UTP. It should be noted that RNA synthesis always occurs in a fixed direction, that is from 5' to 3' end of the RNA molecule that is being synthesized. Usually, only one of the two strands of DNA is used as template for transcribing into RNA. This strand is known as the antisense strand. This strand is also called the template strand since it is used as the template to which ribonucleotides base pair for the synthesis of RNA. The other strand is known as the sense strand because the sequence of the newly formed RNA thus formed is direct copy of the sequence of the deoxyribonucleotides in the sense strand except U in the place of T. Now, let us study the transcription process in prokaryotes in detail. The process of transcription begins with an enzyme called RNA polymerase. This enzyme is also known as DNA-dependent RNA polymerase. It attaches to the template DNA strand and begins to catalyze production of complementary RNA. In prokaryotes, single type of RNA polymerase synthesizes all different types of RNA such as mRNA, rRNA and tRNA. This bacterial RNA polymerase is multi-subunit enzyme made up of 5 different polypeptides: alpha 2, beta, beta prime, omega and sigma. The alpha 2, beta, beta prime and omega subunits make the core enzyme, whereas the attachment of the sigma factor to the core enzyme makes it a hollow enzyme. The functions of these RNA polymerase subunits are as follows. Subunit alpha functions in assembly of the core enzyme, promoter recognition and interaction of RNA polymerase with some regulatory factors. Subunit beta acts as catalytic center mainly involved in chain elongation. Subunit beta prime also acts as catalytic center, whereas subunit sigma functions as a promoter recognition and transcription initiation. Subunit omega facilitates the association of sigma factor with the RNA polymerase core. The transcription process is divided into 3 stages: initiation, elongation and termination. First step, initiation. This is the first step of transcription. This starts with recognition of the transcription site and accordingly binding of the RNA polymerase to it. The sequence of DNA that specifies such binding of RNA polymerase to the template strand and accomplishes initiation is called as promoter. The RNA polymerase core enzyme has a general affinity for DNA and hence it binds non-specifically anywhere to the DNA. This non-specific binding is referred to as loose binding. When sigma factor attaches to the core enzyme to form the holoenzyme, it reduces the enzyme's affinity for non-specific sites on DNA and enhances holoenzyme binding to correct promoter binding sites. This increases the specificity of the holoenzyme for promoting binding sites. The best characterized prokaryotic promoters are those of bacteria E. coli. It contains 6 base pair consequences sequences, -10 and -35 sequence as promoter. The -10 sequence lie usually 10 base pair upstream and therefore known as -10 sequence. It is also known as Pribnov box. Generally, it has the consensus TA-TA-AT. The -35 sequence that is lying 35 base pair upstream has consensus TT-GA-CA. RNA polymerase core enzyme first of all binds to the -35 region, which is the recognition site and the binding site of it. Upon binding, the RNA polymerase core enzyme scrolls upstream from -35 sequence coming to -10 region. Here, it binds to another subunit called the sigma subunit to form a holoenzyme. The sigma subunit conveys promoter specificity to RNA polymerase. Thus, -10 sequence is the region at which a stable complex of DNA and RNA polymerase is formed. This initiation complex of the polymerase with the base pair promoter DNA is referred as closed complex. Now, for the template strand to become accessible for base pairing, the DNA duplex unwinding is required. For this, the closed complex is converted to open complex by melting of a short region of DNA within the sequence bound by the enzyme. The transcription bubble of 12 to 14 base pair is created by a local unwinding at the site bound by RNA polymerase. This initial unwinding of the DNA results in formation of an open complex with RNA polymerase, and the process is referred to as tight binding. Following the tight binding, actual initiation of RNA synthesis takes place. Only the holoenzyme can initiate transcription. In contrast with DNA replication, RNA synthesis can start de novo, that is, without the requirement of primers. The RNA polymerase initially incorporates the first 2 nucleotides and forms a phosphodiester bond between them. Almost all RNA start sites consist of purine residue, with G being more common than A. So the chain always starts with either GTP or ATP. The first 9 to 10 nucleotides are added without enzyme movement along the DNA. After each of these first 9 nucleotides added to the chain, there is a significant probability that the chain will be aborted. This phenomenon is known as abortive initiation. Once a polymerase manages to make a stretch of RNA longer than 10 base pair, a stable ternary complex is formed. This complex contains the enzyme, the DNA template, and a growing RNA chain. Now the second step, elongation. When initiation succeeds, the enzyme releases the sigma factor and forms a ternary complex. The release of sigma factor is known as promoter clearance. The minimum time taken for this promoter clearance is about 1 to 2 seconds. The transcription bubble then moves along the DNA with the polymerase. As the enzyme moves, it unwinds the DNA helix to expose a new segment of template in a single-stranded condition. Nucleotides are covalently added to the 3' end of the growing RNA chain, forming a RNA-DNA hybrid of 8 to 12 base pairs. During each nucleotide addition, the two terminal phosphates of the incoming nucleotide and the hydroxyl group of 3' carbon of the nascent RNA chain are removed. The overall rate of nucleotide addition at this stage is about 40 nucleotides per second at 37 degrees centigrade. As the RNA polymerase proceeds along the DNA double helix, unwinding ahead and rewinding behind occurs. This generates positive supercoiling ahead and negative supercoiling behind. Enzyme gyrase removes these positive supercoils developed ahead and introduces negative supercoils, whereas topoisomerase 1 removes negative supercoils developed behind. Now the third stage, termination. This is the step of transcription that involves recognition of the point at which no further addition of bases occurs to the chain. The termination in prokaryotes is brought about by certain termination signals on DNA. These DNA sequences that provide termination signals are called terminators. At this point, the enzyme stops adding nucleotides to the growing RNA chain, releases the completed product, and dissociates from the DNA template. Bacteria mostly use two distinct strategies for transcription termination. First, row-dependent termination, and second, row-independent termination. Now, row-dependent termination. This type of termination requires the activity of the protein termed row and hence called as row-dependent termination. Row is a helicase that uses the energy released from ATP hydrolysis to disrupt the nascent RNA-DNA complex. It binds to the nascent RNA and moves along it until it reaches RNA-DNA hybrid in RNA polymerase. There, it enables the RNA polymerase to terminate transcription and release the nascent RNA from the DNA. Once the RNA molecule is released, the non-base paired antisense strand of the DNA reanneals with the sense DNA strand and the core enzyme gets dissociated from the DNA. Second, row-independent termination. The row-independent termination is the simpler of the two systems. As a result, is also called simple termination. The row-independent signal is found on the DNA template strand and consists of a region that contains a section that is then repeated a few base pairs away in the inverted sequence. As is shown in the figure, the patch is followed by a short string of adenines. When this stretch is transcribed into an RNA sequence, the RNA can fold back and base pair with itself, forming a hairpin loop. As you can see, the string of adenines in the DNA sequence is transcribed into uracils in the RNA sequence. Because the uracil bases will only pair weakly with the adenines, the RNA chain can easily be released from the DNA template, terminating transcription. The product thus formed at the end of transcription in prokaryotes is a mature RNA ready for use. Now, let us study the process of transcription in eukaryotes. Although transcription proceeds by the same fundamental mechanism in all cells, it is more complex in eukaryotic cell than in prokaryotes. This is reflected in two distinct differences between the prokaryotic and eukaryotic systems. First difference is that in prokaryotes, all genes are transcribed by a single RNA polymerase, whereas eukaryotic cell contain multiple different RNA polymerases that transcribe distinct classes of genes. Like RNA polymerase 1 is responsible for transcribing RNA that codes for genes that become structural components of the ribosome, that is, for rRNA. RNA polymerase 2 transcribes protein encoding genes or messenger RNAs, which are the RNAs that get translated into proteins. Whereas RNA polymerase 3 transcribes a different structural region of the ribosome, transfer RNA, which are also involved in the translation process as well as 5S rRNAs. Second difference is that eukaryotic DNA is tightly packaged as chromatin. Hence, rather than binding directly to the promoter sequences, eukaryotic RNA polymerases need to interact with a variety of additional proteins to specifically initiate transcription. Therefore, eukaryotic transcription also requires a number of specialized proteins that make up the template strand accessible. These transcription factors are a group of proteins involved in transcription initiation and regulation. These factors typically have DNA binding domains that bind specific sequence elements of the core promoter and help recruit RNA polymerase to the transcription start site. General transcription factors of RNA polymerase 2 include transcription factor 2D, transcription factor 2A, transcription factor 2B, transcription factor 2F, transcription factor 2E and transcription factor 2H. Eukaryotic promoter and regulatory sequences. In eukaryotes, also a sequence of DNA bases which is almost identical to Pribnow box of prokaryotes is identified. This sequence is located almost 25 nucleotide upstreams from the mRNA synthesis start site. Here, this sequence is called as Tata box or Hogness box. One more site of recognition is identified to be located around 70 to 80 nucleotides upstream from the transcription start site. This second site is referred to as CAT site. One of these two sites or sometimes both help RNA polymerase 2 to recognize the requisite sequence on DNA for transcription. Eukaryotic genes also contain regulatory sequences beyond the core promoter. These cis-acting control elements bind transcriptional activators or repressors to increase or decrease transcription from the core promoter. The well-characterized regulatory elements include enhancers, silencers, and insulators. These regulatory sequences can be spread over a large genomic distance, sometimes located hundreds of kilobases from the core promoter. Now the first step of transcription, initiation. To prepare for transcription, a complete set of general transcription factors and RNA polymerase need to be assembled at the core promoter to form pre-initiation complex, that is PIC. The Tata box as a core promoter element is the binding site for a transcription factor known as Tata binding protein TBP, which is itself a subunit of another transcription factor 2D. Following to it, transcription factor 2A and transcription factor 2B bind transcription factor 2D. Transcription factor 2A is known to stabilize binding of TBP to the promoter. Transcription factor 2B binds to TBP and recruits polymerase II transcription factor 2F complex. Within the complex, transcription factor 2F helps binding RNA polymerase to transcription factor 2B and prevents its binding to non-specific DNA sequences. Transcription factor 2E and transcription factor 2H also bind the promoter region to complete the pre-initiation complex formation. Transcription factor 2E is not only responsible for recruitment of transcription factor 2H, but it is also involved in DNA unwinding through its ATPase and helicase activity. The last transcription factor to be recruited to the pre-initiation complex is transcription factor 2H, which plays an important role in promoter melting and escape. This allows the separation of DNA strands and the transition of the pre-initiation complex from the closed to open state. Transcription factor 2B also aids in open complex formation by binding the melted DNA and stabilizing the transcription bubble. Once the initiation complex is open, the first ribonucleotide is brought into active site to initiate the polymerization reaction. Now it should be noted that there is no need of primer for the RNA polymerase to initiate polymerization. Initiation of transcription generates a nascent RNA chain that forms a heteroduplex with the template DNA strand. However, before entering the elongation phase, polymerase may terminate prematurely and release a short truncated transcript which is similar to that happening in prokaryotes. This process in case of eukaryotes is also called as abortive initiation. Many cycles of such abortive initiation may occur before the transcript grows to sufficient length to promote polymerase escape from the promoter. Promoter escape in eukaryotes requires ATP-mediated polymerase II phosphorylation of the C-terminal domain of RNA polymerase. This phosphorylation is done by transcription factor 2H, which has kinase activity. The phosphorylation of polymerase II indicates promoter clearance and escape of initiation factors from the transcription site. Second step, elongation. Once transcription is initiated, the DNA double helix keeps on unwinding forward. RNA polymerase reads the template strand and goes on adding complementary nucleotides to the 3' end of the growing chain. All RNA polymerases travel along the template DNA strand in the 3' to 5' direction and catalyze the synthesis of new RNA strand in the 5' to 3' direction, adding new nucleotides to the 3' end of the growing RNA strand. New nucleotides are added at a much slower pace than prokaryotes, that is almost 20 to 25 nucleotides per second at 37 degrees centigrade. During transcription elongation, the polymerase acquires new factors like transcription factor 2F, transcription factor 2S, PTEFB and others, each helping in elongation of RNA chain. Now the third stage, termination. In eukaryotes, termination of transcription occurs by different processes depending upon the exact polymerase utilized. For polymerase I genes, transcription is stopped using a termination factor through a mechanism similar to row-dependent termination in bacteria. Transcription of polymerase III genes ends after transcribing a termination sequence that includes a polyuracil stretch by a mechanism resembling row-independent prokaryotic termination. Termination of polymerase II transcripts, however, is more complex. RNA polymerase II lack any specific signal or sequences that direct RNA polymerase II to terminate at specific locations. Therefore, RNA polymerase II can continue to transcribe RNA anywhere from a few base pair to thousands of base pair past the actual end of the gene. However, the transcript is cleaved at an internal site before RNA polymerase II finishes transcribing. The cleavage site, which determines the end of the emerging pre-mRNA, occurs between an upstream AAU-AAA sequence and a downstream GU-rich sequence separated by about 40 to 60 nucleotides in the emerging RNA. As polymerase II reaches the end of the gene, two protein complexes, cleavage and polyadenylation specificity factor and cleavage stimulation factor, are carried by the CTD. They recognize the poly A signal in the transcribed RNA polymerase A, bound CPSF and CSTF recruit other protein to carry out RNA cleavage and then polyadenylation. Poly A polymerase adds approximately 200 adenines to the cleaved 3' end of the RNA without a template. This separates the newly formed hnRNA from the template strand. This hnRNA need to be further processed through post-transcriptional machinery to become mature mRNA, which can be used for further use like for translation. In conclusion, in transcription, a portion of the double-stranded DNA template gives rise to a single-stranded RNA molecule in both prokaryotes as well as eukaryotes. In some cases, like in case of rRNA and tRNA, the RNA molecule itself is a finished product that serves some important function within the cell. However, in case of mRNA, mRNA carries the genetic messenger from nucleus to the cytoplasm, which is followed by a translation step which ultimately results in the production of a protein molecule.